Olá, bom dia a todos. Os que estão em casa conseguem ouvir-me?
Sim, sim, sim.
Eu não consigo ouvir ninguém em casa. Deixa eu ver aqui o chat.
Eu não consigo ouvir.
Eu não consigo ouvir muito bem. Ora, falem outra vez, os daí de casa.
Bom dia.
Ok, já consigo ouvir. Bom dia a todos, aos de casa e aos daqui da sala. Vamos só aguardar mais um bocadinho, porque estamos aqui a tratar da logística das triplas. A malta que veio presencialmente está a colocar umas triplas. Já começamos, mais 2 minutinhos.
Hello, hello.
Se quiserem fazer nenhuma questão de mostrar, deve ser difícil. Sim, claro. Ok, malta, vamos começar então. Deixem pôr aqui isto. So, good morning to everyone. Let's get started. Okay, 1 minute more. They are still plugging in.
O professor consegue ouvir-me?
Assim sim.
Ok. Agora já está. Obrigado.
David Ornelas, I don't think I heard you. Okay, so good morning to all. Let's get started with class number 2. As I told you, what I will be doing now, let me turn off my video, no need for that. As I told you, what we will be doing in this theoretical class is trying to solve some of the exercises of the week. So this week we have part 02 to solve. So let me go here, PSR, part 02. And hopefully you have read and tried to do some of these exercises, okay? So today I will be talking about exercises 3, 4, and 5. That's my goal. The other two are the other two exercises, 1 and 2 are very similar to what we did last week, so I won't go into detail in those. So the first exercise that I want to work on is exercise number 3, in which we are going to learn how to use a particular Python package called argparse. So it says that we should copy the previous exercise, which is the exercise of the primes. So I'm just going to copy the exercise of the primes from last week's class. So let me start PyCharm. And here I put my terminal where I'm going to run my code. You know this, I've told you about this already. And so now I have, I'm in the wrong project. Okay, so this is PSR. Now, I'm going to pick up exercise Primus. I'm not sure which one. Yeah, exercise number 2. From part 01 to part 02. So here in part 02, I'm going to create a new folder called TP. And now I'm going to copy EX2 to TP and call it EX3. That's the name of the exercise in part 02. Okay, so TP, EX3, Primus.py. So now I quit all my thing. Okay, so here is the code for Primus. Yeah. Não, está no Zoom, está no Zoom. Você quer ver aqui? Ok, é que eu tenho... É complicado. E depois você não consegue ver nada. Okay, so here we have the code to compute if a number is prime or not. We are going to compute that for numbers from 1 to 155. And I mean, I don't want to go into detail in this code. Let me just try to give you an example of what we could use argparse for. For example, you can notice here that we have a variable called maximum number, which we have to change in the code directly if we want the code's behavior to change. And this is not very interesting because one thing is the programmer. The programmer is the one who changes the code. And then there is another personality, which is the user. A user is someone who wants to use the code, but not be someone who has to know how to change the code. So from the programmer's point of view, it makes perfect sense that he will change the number from 155 to 20, just for testing. But from the user's point of view, it's not very interesting that he has to look into the code and see where he must change things. The best thing would be if the user can launch the program, meaning execute it, while being able to somehow change the behavior of the code. That means to parameterize the code. And this is done using command line arguments. Command line arguments are additional information that you put when you launch the code. For example, let me launch Primus as is now. So I'm just going to copy my path, cd. Okay, so here I'm in ex3. If I want to launch Primus, I will do like this, okay? And this is doing what we have seen last week. Now, if I want to do this up to number 3, I have to change the code, as I told you before, and run again. What we could do is to write here, for example, something after the execution, the name of the file that we want to execute, that would parameterize the behavior of the code. And these are called command line arguments. So for that, we are going to use the package argparse, which I will show you now. Python argparse. So argparse will is a package that is able to understand what is given as command line arguments. And the way we do that is as is here, okay? So let me show you. I'm going to copy paste the code as I always do, and then adapt. So copy paste. Now, the import should be up there, so I'm going to put it up there. Then I prepare a parser class. So this is just an object to be able to parse. And this is the PSR arg parse example, okay? Then we are going to add different arguments, which can be of different things. For example, I'm going to add an argument, which is going to be the maximum number. Okay, metavar is no needed. Type, we can say the type, integer. This I also don't use. Okay. So if now I run this, for example, like this, it says that it doesn't work because it needs the argument maximum number, okay? So now I need to do something like this, minus minus maximum number, and then put some number, for example, number 5. Let's see, and now it should work. Maximum number, I think it's like this. Huh? Oh. Let me check the way I use argparse because I'm looking, I should look somewhere else. Yeah? I think I did, no? Here. Look here. Ah, right, thanks. Like this. Yeah, thanks, Luca, that's it. Okay, so now we're 46. That's somewhere down there, 46. Ah, this is something else. Okay. Okay, now after adding the arguments, I have these which are called args, and we can print these args. Then I don't want to do anything else for now, so I will just stop my code here. So the code will end on line 30 for now. Okay, so these args right now are a complex structure which is called namespace maximum number. We can convert these to dictionaries, to a dictionary, and I don't remember how, so I have to check how to do that. So arg parse, and I think it's this. Yeah, I have to put vars, I think. Okay, so if we say here vars, I think this will work. I don't remember. Yeah, so now you see that after putting these vars around the output of the parser, I get a print. I don't know if you can see the print in the bottom, so I'm just going to create a dummy terminal. So I'm talking about this print here that is highlighted. This print begins with chavetas. How to say chavetas? Como é que se diz chavetas? Brackets. Brackets are chavetas are something else. Okay, this that I'm drawing, which I don't remember the name.
It's brackets.
It's brackets. And what's the name of this? Square brackets. Okay, thanks. So it starts with brackets, and then you have a string, which is the key of the dictionary, and then you have the value of the dictionary. So this dictionary contains a single key, which is maximum number, with a single value, which is 5. If I add more arguments, the dictionary will also increase. For example, let's say that I have an argument called verbose. This is a typical argument to define whether or not you want to save, how to say, to print stuff to the screen. So let's say that this is a Boolean argument. That would be maximum number to search for primes. And this verbose will be a Boolean, and it will say print stuff to the screen or not, okay? So right now, if we do it like this, it says there verbose none, because I didn't say what verbose is, but if it's, so if I'm obliged to say what verbose is, I will say here, if I want to say what verbose is, I will say verbose. For example, I'm not sure if I can say like this. Yeah, oh, no. 0? How do I say false? Come on. Perhaps it's, okay, so it's different in this case because action store true. So in this case, for the verbose argument, it's not an argument that is followed by a number because this is only a true or false. If I put minus minus verbose, it's going to be true. And if I don't, it's going to be false. Okay? Better like this. So if I put minus minus verbose, verbose is true, otherwise it's false. So now you can see that we already have two key value pairs in our dictionary. The first is maximum number, key value 5. Second is key verbose, value false. And that's it. That's how you can use argparse to read command line arguments and then create variables, which are in this case encoded into dictionaries. So dictionaries in Python are one of the nicest features of Python, very, very widely used. And so now how could I use this variable here, which is inside the dictionary, in order to know up to which number I'm going? So right now I'm going to delete the maximum number from here. And here where I'm searching for the maximum number, okay, I have to print after I read. So here where I'm going to print maximum number, I'm going to say args, which is the name of my dictionary, and then I have to select the key whose value I want to search for, and the key is maximum number, okay? So this is a variable which is inside the dictionary, and I'm going to read it in order to print. If you have questions, you can interrupt. It's harder because there will be many people, but if you need, ask away, okay? If I don't have time, I will tell you. Okay, so if all goes well, I can just say, okay, Primus maximum number 5, and it should go up to 5. Something went wrong. Maximum number is not defined on line 37. So let's go to 37. It's the same as we had before. So we have to put args, which is the name of the dictionary, and then specify the key which we are searching for. Okay. Okay, let's see now. Okay, so now I found 3 prime numbers between 1 and 5. If I call this with number 55, I found 17 prime numbers between 1 and 55. You see now that what I'm doing now is much more friendly to an user that doesn't know what the code, how the code does it, and I can just use command line arguments in order to do this. I'm just going to adapt in order to use also the verbose flag. So everywhere where I have a print, I should print only if there is a verbose. So for example, here, well, let's not do it there. Let's just say that I want to print this blue line if verbose is true. Otherwise, I don't want to print the blue line. So if args, my key value is verbose, okay? Remember here I put verbose there. And if this is true, I print. Otherwise, I don't. So if now I call my program with maximum number 55 without the verbose, verbose will be false and the blue line is not printed. If I want to see the blue line, I should put, oops, sorry, minus verbose. Okay, and now I see the blue line. Okay, so this is just the beginning of argparse. We will be using argparse a lot in the future until we get to ROS, because ROS then solves this problem with some other stuff with parameters. So, but until then, we will be using argparse to parameterize our codes, okay? Of course, you can find many more examples. As with everything I say and talk about in this class, you should go to the internet and read a little bit. For example, in this case, argparse, you have some examples which you can read and try to get a better understanding of argparse, okay? Questions about this exercise? No questions? Pedro, you don't have to raise your hand, Pedro, just speak.
Yeah, but can you hear me?
I can.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I was asking, but no one has answered. Why don't we use on the beginning like maximum numbers equals to input, and after we change it to integer because of the type of format? Is not
in the beginning. Where is your beginning? Tell me the line. I don't have a beginning.
Like,
I only have line numbers.
if after the import of the files, the packages on the beginning, like line 5.
Okay.
Why don't we put like maximum numbers equals to input?
Ah, okay. So what you want is the code to ask, okay, tell me the input, and now I type, that's it? Because
Yeah.
it's yeah, so.
It's more user-friendly, no?
Not really, it depends on the user. In my case, not really, because here I just go one key up and enter.
Okay.
In your case, I would have to go one key up, enter, and then he will tell me the maximum number. I would say 55, enter, and then he will say, do you want verbose? And I will say, yes, enter. And this will be, it will take much longer. I mean,
Okay.
it's nice because sometimes people do interfaces which are very nice if you are going to use it once, but when you test it 150 times, because that's what you need to test in order to develop,
Yeah.
they stop being nice and are just boring. Okay.
Okay, it's just because on that you have to put like args maximum number in every single line that has the variable, but
I don't have to write it.
understand.
I just go up. And then,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was my question.
okay. In any case, we are going to learn in exercise 4 on how to read the inputs. Okay. So when we get there, perhaps you already did exercise 5. I think it's 4 or 5. I'm not sure. When we get there, you will see how we could have done what you suggest. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any more Questions or comments or cries for help? No? All right, so let's proceed to exercise. Where am I? Let's go to 4. So in this case, we want to write a function which is called print all previous chars, which will not contain any kind of parameters and return anything, but when executed, we'll read a keyboard from we'll read a character from the keyboard. That's what Pedro was suggesting we do, using the function readChar, and we'll print all characters from the space character until this character, this considering the ASCII table. So we can immediately go to the ASCII table, and just to see if you understand what I mean with the question. Basically, the code will do the following. It will say, type a key, and I press some key. Let's say I press K. If I press K, the code will figure out which is the value of K in the ASCII table. The value of K in the ASCII table is 107. Do you see here? I cannot select. I can draw here. Where is it again? Here, okay? So here is the value of K. And so what the code will do after getting the key K is to print all characters from the space up to K. So it should print space, then this, then this, then this, then all these characters that you can see in red up to the character we've entered, okay? So that's the goal. Does anyone have problems understanding the goal? If you don't understand, yeah, so the program will ask you for a key, you give some key, and then the program, after you give the key, should print all characters from space, which is number 32 here. Let me draw again. I'm not sure. I don't think I did a very good job highlighting the stuff I wanted. So from space, which is here, can you see space? And it should print all characters up to the key you entered. For example, if I entered K, it will be up to there. All right? So we get the help that we, okay, so clear this. And now we are going to use function readChar. So let's search for it. So Python readChar. So Python readChar is another Python package. So Python has a lot of very interesting libraries, which are called packages, but it's the same, with very nice code that we can use. We are going to be using a lot of packages. In this case, if you don't have it yet, you should install it like this. So you should put this in a terminal. Sudo pip. I'm not sure if for you is needed. For me, it's needed to do pip3, but for you should be just pip install readChar.
readChar.
Yeah, but in my computer, if I do pip, I install for Python 2.7 because I have both. So you should do this if you don't have it. I mean, you can do it anyways if you don't know it, and if you have it, it will say you already have it. Okay, so it says requirement already satisfied. That means I have it installed. Okay, so how can you use readChar? You import it, of course, as we have it here. So I'm going to import it. No, first I need to create a new exercise number 4. So I'm just going to copy, paste, call it 4. Okay, 4, I will not call 4 Primus because it doesn't make sense. So let me just change the name. Refactor, rename, let's just call it main. I call main to all my codes. It's easier because I call main because I already know what the code is because of the folder, of the name of the folder where it is in. So let's just do something like this. Parse, we can just start with nothing, okay? Also the import side, well, let's leave them. So the first goal was to have here import readChar. Now we go and we have 2 functions only. We have the function readChar and the function readKey. So we can either use one or the other. I'm going to use first the readChar function. So I'm just going to copy paste it here and use it later. you remember that what was requested was that I created a function called print all chars up to blah, blah, blah. So I can put the function here. So print all chars up to stop char. So I'm going to first call this function. First in the main, I have to ask for the user to give me a char. So I'm going to say this, print, give me the stop char, okay? And the read char function will be waiting for the user to enter a key, to press a key. And the character value of that key, what I mean is the number which is on the right-hand side. So for example, if the user presses space, value C will be 32. If the user presses A, small a, the value will be 97. So let's just, C will be the char that was pressed. I can even call it pressed char. And then I have to call this function, print all chars up to, and my stop char will be the pressed char. Okay? And for now, I can just say something like, I don't know how to do this yet. Okay? Okay, let's see if the skeleton of the code works, and then we fill it in. I have to go back. I have to go to exercise 4. Now I run my main. Give me a stop char. You see the terminal is waiting for my input because it's blinking. Can you see it blinking? And now, for example, I will press I. And it says, I don't know how to do this yet. It could just say the stop char would help. So first thing we can do is to put here the stop char. Printing all values up to stop char. And here I put my stop char, which is stop char. Okay, so if I put small a, it will tell me the stop char, okay, which is A. Now, if I want to print all characters from the space up to here, I have to know the number of this char. And this number, I think we can use something like ORD. I don't remember anymore. ORD, yeah. The function ORD in Python ORD will give me, not order list, ORD, will give me the value, the numerical value of a given character. So for example, if I say ORD of capital P, it should return, where is my capital P? It should return 80, okay? So now I can get my, I can do a for cycle for I in range 32, because I know I can actually do this, ORD of space, which is 32, up to my stop character, which is ORD of stop char. I'm not sure this should work. Let's see. Print I equals plus str I. There is something there which I'm not sure about, but let's try it. So for example, if I give him the capital A, which is number 65, it is going from 32 to 64. Makes sense, right? So now I just have to print, instead of I, the character that corresponds to the number I. And for that, we use the function which does the reverse of ORD, which is CHR, no? Again, I forgot. I always forget everything. CHR Python. Okay, I think it is. CHR returns the character given, no, I think that's it. So I'm just going to print the CHR of I. Give me a number. Again, I'm going to put capital A. And so now I get a lot of weird stuff, 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 until the at, this symbol here from the emails, the at, which should be the one immediately before A. Let's check in the ASCII table. Yeah, it is. If you see it here, you can see here that this is correct, okay? So at is immediately before A. We can actually go up to A by doing a +1 here. Okay, so now it will print up to A. Make sense? If you have any questions, please interrupt. And I'm going fast because I only have 1 hour to speak about a lot of stuff, so that's why I try to speed up. Next. Okay, so now we have a different function for 4b, which should read all characters up to some stop char. So now I give a stop char, and this stop char is, for example, character X by default. So this is defined. So the code will read everything I type until I type a capital X to quit, okay? The function is supposed to be called read all up to char. Let's put the function here. Def. Okay, so this function now will start reading characters. Therefore, it must do a lot of read chars. And it should do this continuously, meaning not continuously, forever, until I press a particular one. So there's a loop here, which when it's an infinite loop, it should be a while. So while true, so this is going to do this forever. It will say, type something, and then it will say X to stop. Now it will read the char that has been pressed. Actually, now, because I need to figure out the not the number of the char, but actually the real char, instead of calling function read char, I'm going to call a function which is better, I think, which is read key, okay? So here I have immediately my key. So I'm going to have here my pressed key. Oops. Okay, so here is my pressed key. And what I have to do is say, thank you for typing. And here I say the key that was typed, which I don't think I have to convert because it's already a string. And that's it. For now, if I don't put the terminating condition, it should just go on forever. Sorry. I created a function and I did not call it. So now this is exercise 4. Are we in 4? Yeah, 4a. And now let's do exercise 4b. And this is just calling the function. Read all up to X. So type something, Y. You type thank you for typing Y, type something again, V. And I'm typing, and it just says, okay, thank you for typing this, type again. If I type X capital, which I just did, nothing happens because I need to put the terminating condition. So I need a volunteer to suggest a terminating condition. How to write it? Anyone? I'm trying to exit my terminal, which is now blocked. Okay, I got a new one here. Okay, Lucas, go ahead. Not here, sorry. If the string x, or well, we have here, we can make the function more to the stop key, no, which is an argument of the function. Okay, if this happens, what should I do? Break will cut the for loop, no? Okay, makes sense. And so instead of saying, so now my code says, thank you for typing this. And now I should say here, you typed abort terminating. But it doesn't make sense to thank you and then say again you typed. So if this is true, I do this, else I thank you. I think it makes more sense like this, no? So let's try again. I'm in the wrong exercise. Oh, come on. Okay. Type something, blah, 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 blah. I'm typing a lot, and now I'm going to type X. That's it. You typed X terminating. Okay? Questions? I'm doing this fast. You should try this at home before I'm explaining it. And then you will have time to try to do it more calmly in the practical class. I think that's it, no? For 4B, that's it. Okay, so 4C is to count numbers up to stop char. Let's see if I go to 4C or if I go to 5, because I don't think I have time for both. Okay, let's go to 4C and then we see how much of 5 we can do. So now what I want to do is to read many characters, and when the X character arrives, then I should count how many numbers have been entered. So meaning how many zeros, ones, twos, up to nines have been entered, and how many of the others. So I'm supposed to count. Okay. For example, this read all up to something should have a count of numbers, actually pressed numbers, which starts with 0. And everything else that are not numbers, I'm going to call others. So pressed number, pressed others. And now, every time I press a key, I have to analyze the pressed key to see whether or not it's a number and increment the corresponding counter. The way to do that is to use a function called isNumeric, you see? So if isNumeric pressed key, so if I've pressed a numeric key, count pressed numbers plus equal 1, else count pressed others plus equal 1. The isNumeric is not being recognized. Let's see why. I think I should need some import or something. No? Let's see.
IsNumeric is a function that already exists.
Yeah, should. Let me search. Python. It could be a function that exists in Python 2.7 because last year's slides were for Python 2.7. So some stuff I have to convert, and this particular thing I don't think I tested. Let's see. Numeric, but it should be Python 3. String is numeric. Oh, it should work. Let's see. str.isNumeric. Okay. Note, unlike Python 2, all strings are represented, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's str.isNumeric. Let's do it. str. Okay, now he's happy now. So in the end, after counting, we should say something like print. Actually, we have the prints here rather than writing them again. I'm just going to use. Okay, so let's just adapt. You entered count pressed numbers. You entered count pressed others. Okay? Makes sense for everybody? Let's try it out. So I'm going to type QWERTYU, and now 1, 2, 3, and now X, capital X. Okay, so it says you entered 3 numbers and you entered 8 others. Okay, I think it's working. Something that now you know how to use package Colorama, so it would be much nicer if, for example, this is is more highlighted. So I could say something like you typed for dot red, oops, sorry, red plus style dot, I think it's right, plus style dot reset all. I think all of you understand what I'm doing here because you've been to the classes. So for example, now, I don't see any red, do you? I don't see a red. Where is the red? You're right, sorry. Sorry, stupid. This is where I wanted to. Okay, and I can go there, style, reset all. Okay, let's try now. Come on, okay. Okay, now I have some nice highlight. And for example, now I pressed 0 numbers. I entered 0 numbers, okay? So this is exercise 4C. Now we go to exercise 5, which we will not be able to do all of the exercise. By the way, for people who are coming next week, I ask that you come a bit earlier because I really want to start at 9 sharp so that I have more time. So next week I will try to start at 9. About this power, I will try to find a way to have them here by 9, okay? So let's see, exercise 5. The idea here is to try to change the previous exercise to operate in a different manner, a more Pythonic manner. Pythonic means to simplify, to be more readable. Basically, if you are doing some code which is very difficult to understand, you're not doing it the right way in Python. Python is meant to be simple so that you can do difficult stuff. If you want to do difficult stuff, you shouldn't complicate the programming. You should instead simplify it. So the exercise 5A suggests a change in the previous one, which is based on the following. If you take a look at this exercise, I'm going to change this immediately. If you take a look at this exercise, what we are doing is we are counting on the fly. So every time you get a key, you will analyze it and see if the key is a number or not and increment the counter. So for example, if now I tell you, can you please print the list of keys? I want to see all the keys that the user has pressed. You have to do some other stuff because your code does not support this. So the goal here now is to use a very nice feature of Python, which is a list type, a list data type, in order to store all the characters that have been pressed, and only when we stop entering characters, analyze that list in order to figure out how many numbers we have, okay? So instead of counting on the fly, I'm going to count after the fact. So this is the part where I'm going to analyze the list and count. Here, I'm going to build the list or ask for all the entries and put them in a list, okay? So pressed, all my lists are plural because they have typically more than one element. So my list is pressed keys equals an empty list, okay? Empty list to start with. And so now I have an empty list and I go about my stuff, which is type something to stop blah, 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 type something. So here I have a pressed key. This part about counting, I'm going to do it below. So I'm just going to put this here. Then I will figure out what I need to do. So what I need to do is to see if the number is the stop key or not. If it is, I abort. If it is not, I will increment my list of entries because I'm not going to count the last entry, which is an X. That is just to abort. So pressed keys dot append. That's how you put a new element to the list, which will be pushed, meaning it will be inserted at the end of the list. And here you put the pressed key. Okay, so add a new element to the pressed keys list, which is the key that I've pressed right now. After this, I can just print my key. Actually, I'm not going to put this print, and I'm just going to say after everything, I'm going to say print the keys you pressed are, and here I'm going to join this with the list, pressed keys. Okay? All this part is not yet functional, so I'm going to comment it, and let's run the part we've done so far. Actually, I told you about this trick, which is to, oh, it's working. So whenever I run a new code, we are seeing the output of the previous code mixed with the new code. So usually, instead of just launching my script, I first clear the screen and then I launch the script. So I always do like this so that we are sure that everything that is on the terminal now is only from this script. Okay, so again, I'm going to type A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then X. So the keys you pressed are A, B, C, D, blah, 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 okay? Now, what we have to do is to analyze this list. So now we've built the list, and now we're going to go to iterate over the list to count the numbers. So the idea of counting the numbers will be to do a new loop, which is, I can initialize my counters. So for pressed key in pressed keys, okay? Now be careful because there is something here which might confuse you. We have here a variable called pressed key, which is the variable that contains the key that was pressed when on line 22. Now we have another variable here, that's where the confusion may come from, on line 38, which has the same name. The question is that this variable on line 58 will overwrite the previous one. So these are not the same variable, actually. These are different things. I'm just going to use the same name because it makes sense here, okay? So for pressed key in pressed keys, this variable here in 38 is the value of each element in the list, pressed keys. And now I just have to do the stuff I did before. Okay, so if pressed key is numeric, the variable's name is the same, so I don't even have to change it. I just increment the counters. After iterating all the elements in the list, I already have my counters updated and I just print them. I think it works like this. Let's try. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 5, 9. So the keys you pressed are A, B, C, blah, 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 blah. You entered 3 numbers, you entered 7 others, okay? Now, of course, we can do more stuff like is suggested on 5B, for example, to create a list just with the numbers. We can create this list, for example, inside these ifs. So I can do the numbers, pressed numbers equals, oh, sorry, equals this. And press the others equals this. So I'm initializing empty lists. If this is a number, pressed numbers dot append pressed key. If this is another, pressed other append pressed key. Make sense? And we can print our lists here. You entered, actually you entered a number of numbers, and here we print the numbers, pressed numbers. Plus, perhaps like this, str pressed others. Do you understand? Let me run this again. Where's my clear? Okay, here. So type something, A, B, C, D, E, F, okay? And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Okay, so you entered 10 numbers, which are those, and you entered 6 others, which are those, okay? So you can see, I'm not sure how many of you have experience in C or C++, but if you do, and you've never worked on Python, by now you should be amazed at how Python can simplify things. In C, this is really much more difficult to do. In Python, it's quite simple. And we might have time just for another. Okay, so we can just create a dictionary. We will not have time for the others, but I think we are close to, we did almost everything I wanted, so it's okay. Let's just build a dictionary. So a list, by the way, let me just try to do something here in the interactive Python. Okay, so a list is something that starts with a square bracket, which may contain elements which do not have to be all the same. So you can have text mixed with nuns mixed with numbers. So this is my list A. A dictionary, which I'm going to do B, is a set of key value pairs. So I need a key value which will be name, Miguel, age, 21, of course, and some more stuff, okay? So this is a dictionary. In this case, with two key value pairs. The list is used whenever we need a sequence. So if it is important that number 2 is before 1 and 3 is after 2, blah, 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 we use a list. A list is a sequenced set of things. If we don't need a sequence, typically we use a dictionary, okay, which is faster. A dictionary is a list ordered in a way that is faster to retrieve the values. It has a special order useful for the computer. And that's it. I think that it's a lot of information already by now. Now I would like to hear some comments. I know I'm trying to go fast because I wanted to talk about all this in the theoretical. The idea now, when we go to the practical classes, is that you do it. So I will ask you to share the screen and try to do it in front of me, in front of the class. Any comments, any ideas on what can be improved? I know I went fast, but I wanted to talk about 3 and 4 and 5. No comments? Nothing? Are you awake, by the way? No? Okay, so let's meet next week, or this week, or this Thursday in the practical classes. I will put this class online so that you can review it, and also the practical classes, I will do that. If you have questions, always use the GitHub issue. So I'm receiving emails from people and I tell them, put an issue. So if you ask me, teacher, should I go to the class or not because I didn't go to the first class, something like this. This question, I received 10 or 15 of these questions. So instead of me having to reply to 15 of them, if you ask here, everyone will know, okay? So if you have some question, use this, you just go to PSR, issues, and then new issue.
Professor.
Yeah?
Should we share our repository on GitHub for you?
Only only for the practical assignments.
Okay.
I will ask then. Right now, it's almost 60 persons. I don't have time to see the code from everybody.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, but if you have some question, you can say, for example, here you could say, I have a question because in my repository, in my code, I cannot solve this. And you point to your code in an issue from PSR.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, see you next week or today for those of you who have practical classes today.
See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Ai, oh, desculpe só um bocadinho. Alguém pode partilhar o ecrã, porque o meu Zoom passa, assim, às vezes preciso que alguém partilhe. Oh, Lucas, você já sabe o que é que isto é? Ah, já fechou? Então alguém que tente partilhar o ecrã, porque o meu Zoom bloqueia. Yeah. Toda a gente saiu? Ninguém? Ah, é o Martin. Oh, Martin, tente lá partilhar o seu ecrã. Ok, obrigado. E agora já posso acabar a sessão. Obrigado.